Good afternoon. That's a whole lot better. You would scare somebody off with a response like that. Welcome to Georgia, in the great city of Atlanta. I'm very proud of Atlanta and this state because I am a native of the great state of Georgia, grew up here in the Atlanta area and very proud of it. So it's always a delight to welcome people from around the country who may not have experienced some of this great Georgia hospitality yet. Our founding fathers had a brilliant concept when they said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." And when I get calls on my radio show where people are feeling a sense of frustration, dejection, disappointment with what's going on in Washington, D.C., I remind them that in that same document, in that same paragraph, to keep reading. Don't stop with just those three principles. When it says, when any form of government becomes destructive of those ideals, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish them. And I didn't need a teleprompter to recite that. Remind people to keep reading. It is our right and our responsibility to change things when we don't like it. And I know that there are a lot of people in this room that do not like what's going on in Washington, D.C., which is why I want to remind folk that we the people are still in charge of this country. Because we have the right and the responsibility to change things. Now, the only two weapons we have to change things, first, our vote. Secondly, our voice. Our vote didn't work too well last November. Too many people decided to stay home because they were dissatisfied with the choices. I wonder how satisfied they are now, staying home. But the good news is, every 2 years we get a chance to do it again. And hopefully and prayerfully, I believe that more people are starting to connect the dots and fill in the blanks. They are frustrated, they are fed up, they are teed off, and they're going to exercise the power of that vote in November 2010 if we do what we need to do to help inform and educate folk. The vote still works. We just can't be outworked. We can change things. We just cannot be outsmarted. And our other weapon is our voice. Like Bob alluded to, too often people don't speak up. If the silent majority stays silent, we will lose this country. There's an element in Washington, D.C. right now that is trying to, remake America, but not with the vision of the Founding Fathers, There's an element in Washington, D.C. that wants to remake America and put it on the road to socialism. Yeah, I said the S word, and I know it's not politically correct, but the great thing about being a radio talk show host, I don't have to be politically correct. That's what you all have to do. But then Tom Graves calls me up and let me know the inside skin, and then I can say it like it is. We on the road to socialism. Now, the first good news is our vote. We got to do what we need to do, making sure that conservatives and people who believe in the founding principles, who believe in the free market system, people who believe in less government and less taxes, get out and vote next year. Too many of them stayed home. The second thing is our voice. And the good news is more people are beginning to speak up. I attended a meeting about a month ago in Washington, D.C. with the 50 largest conservative organizations in the country. They started this group probably about 6 months ago, right after the November election. And I was invited to attend and speak. And the good news is these groups are getting out of their silos and beginning to work together and across silos. That is great news. And we're going to need more of that as we go into 2010 in order to be able to make our voices known. Because it has been my experience that when we make our voices known, it does make a difference. One of the other comments that I get a lot on the radio show from people, well, my voice won't matter. Well, my phone call will be ignored. And over I have to reassure people, it will matter. It's not going to be ignored. I loved it last week when I saw Representative Michelle Bachmann from Minnesota on Fox News. And she said right after the House passed that egregious cap and trade and tax and kill bill, I renamed it for what it really is. Cap and trade and tax and kill bill, she said that the phone lines into Congress melted. That is a good thing. The email system froze up because enough of us knew enough about what this would do and what it really was that people started calling. And I believe that as a result of that, it's why it slowed down in the United States Senate. Barbara Boxer said just earlier this week that they're not going to have a Senate version of that bill before the end of the summer. And she said she's not going to promise that she's going to make President Obama's request of having one by the end of this year. Is that good news, y'all, or what?